6:30. I think it's time to start our meeting. Summer, go ahead and call the roll if you would.
Commissioner Patterson?
Here.
Commissioner Norwood?
Here.
Commissioner Baker?
Here.
Commissioner Roberts?
Here.
Commissioner Stallings?
Here.
Commissioner Dennis?
Here.
And Mayor Mason.
Here.
All present.
Tonight, our invocation and our flag salute. The invocation will be by Commissioner Norwood, and then our flag salute will be led by Commissioner Dennis. So if everyone will stand and remain standing, please.
Would you bow your heads as we pray? Dear Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for blessing us to be able to come together as a community. Lord, help us to be unified. Help us to be loving and kind towards one another. Lord, please bless this meeting to be able to go out and be a blessing to our community, the results of this meeting. Lord, we thank you for our mayor. We thank you for the Board of Commissioners. Lord, we thank you for our city attorney, our city manager, and assistant city attorney. Lord, we thank you for all the employees that keep the city of Enid running well. Lord, we thank you for our fire department. We thank you for our police department. Lord, we thank you for everyone in this community. And God, we're just asking you to bless us to continue to have peace and love in Enid. Lord, please help us to show love one to another. Lord, please help us to be loving to our neighbors, to our friends, even to our enemies, those that don't like us. Lord, help us to love them as well and show them the love of Christ. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, be seated. Thank you. Item 3.1, consider approval of minutes of the regular and special commission meetings of September the 16th, 2025.
So moved.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. Please cast your ballots. We don't have that turned on. There we go. Motion passes 7-0. Item number 4.1, present pet available for adoption at the City Animal Welfare Department. There they are.
Tiniest kitty.
Yeah, I seen that this year.
That's the tiniest kitty ever, I think.
So my name is Christina. I'm with Enid Animal Welfare, and I brought you our biggest and oldest resident in the cat pens and our smallest and youngest. So this big girl right here is Sally. She is a chunker, but she's super affectionate. She loves getting attention. Her owner went into a nursing home and she had no place to go but with us. She had a brother that came in with her, but he was already adopted today, so she's hoping that her day will come either today or tonight or tomorrow. She is located in Pen 1. She is 8 years old, and she could use a diet.
So could I. All right.
And then this tiny thing is Tinkerbell. She's probably about 5 to 6 weeks old. Her brother and sister has already gotten adopted, so she's by herself in her big old pen. So she really does need a home where she can grow, be loved, and taken care of as she's supposed to be. But she is incredibly sweet. She will just cuddle around with you. I've had her in my pocket for most of the day because she is that tiny. And she's just loves to be held. She's absolutely such a sweet little girl for being a wild kitten brought in off the streets. She is located in Pen 8, so if you're interested in any of our animals, come out and see us. We have several dogs and several cats that are waiting for new homes.
Okay. Thank you for bringing them in. All right, item 4.2, discussion of any item remaining from the study session agenda of October 7th, 2025. And we have several of those. I'll start with the concrete point repair, I think. Michael?
Larry and Michael.
Yeah, okay.
Good evening, council members. My name is Larry LaRue. I'm the construction projects manager for the city of Enid. Can everybody hear me?
Pull that mic down just a little bit to you.
Is that better, sir?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I'd like to go over my favorite program in the city, which is the concrete repair program. I want to show all of you 3 projects that are completed, and then I'll show 3 projects that has before pictures that we're soon going to be able to get to. First one here is 19th and Cherry. This was a cul-de-sac and panels leading out of the cul-de-sac that could complete collapse in the cul-de-sac and in the panels. It had sand underneath it, washed out, and through the years, we had just heavements, collapse, and that's why we replaced this. It was a project that took about 4 weeks. It was only supposed to take 2, but it took 4, so it was a big one. Next project, please. This is 1700 East Oak. This is 1714 is the address to 1729. It's the second phase of East Oak. It was the same thing, a lot of sand underneath that washed out, a lot of heavement in it, and a lady got hurt on it, so we had to get on this pretty quick and complete it in a good time. Next slide, please. This is Ramona Drive. This was a very good project. As you can see in the pictures, some of the older panels, this whole 220-foot block looked like that, with heavement and collapse, and curb and gutter was heaving, and this program fixed that. The money from this program fixed that. The next slide, please. This is a before picture of Johnson and Seneca. We are soon going to be on that, and probably in the next 2 weeks. This is heavement. You can see down further where it begins at Seneca. You can see where the concrete is heaved and the collapse in the concrete. And we have another heavement that I didn't get a shot of. So there's 3 heaves in there, but that's the worst one there. Next slide. This is Ponca Drive, 1705 to 1718 Ponca Drive. Every panel looks like this. It's heavement, collapse, heavement in the curb and gutter, collapse in the curb and gutter. This is scheduled to be probably 4 weeks out, maybe 5 or 6, depending on our contractors. Next slide. And Harding and Main. You can see my paint marks there to where how far this is going to go. We're going to do the intersection, the panels leading to the intersection on both sides of the intersection, and curb and gutter on it. And it's collapsed and rose up, heaved, and several spots it heaved the approaches. We'll have to do some of the approaches too. Again, this is one of my favorite programs, so this is where all the money's going, is out there in the city on these projects like this. Do you have any questions?
On that last one, Harding and Main, it looks like portions of it are asphalt. Is that going to be replaced with concrete?
Well, it's not really asphalt. It's asphalt laid over concrete.
Okay.
About 2 inches of asphalt laid over it. It's coming out with.
That's been worn off over time.
Yes, sir.
It's been worn off over time, too,
Yes,
you
sir.
can see from the
Yes,
picture.
sir.
Yeah, this is a great program. It's one of the 3 programs we have to fix streets in our city, your city.
Yes.
Engineering, you heard earlier, those are wonderful projects to do whole streets and arterial streets and collectors. They cost a lot of money, take a lot of time. This program, I think, is one of the best programs in the city. I agree with Larry. Larry's run this program for many years now. With the help of engineering bidding out the project. Who's the contractor this year on the
It's Jackson Civil.
Jacksons?
Yes, sir.
So we have approximately $1 million that's spent over the course of the year. We fix problems with the street without trying to fix the whole street. We fix concrete streets that are salvageable, and that's a second program, and then you're getting ready to hear about the third one. So
sir.
great job, Larry, and your team.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No,
Very cool.
just keep working on them.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great.
It's always a popular.
Okay. Then our next portion, stormwater and asphalt improvement.
How we doing?
Good.
Yes. The big one? All right. So we're a street department. We do anything from streets, tree trimming, ditches, mowing. Today we're going to go over a couple of projects that we've done. First is going to be ditches or stormwater drainage. Recently completed projects are going to be your 30th and Pine, Yale between Adams and Midway, 2000 West Chestnut, West Cherokee, Overland Trail, Santa Fe Trail, 27th and Cypress, 4500 block to 4600 block of West Chestnut. So this is the 30th and Pine. There was a concrete flume here. More, oh, I don't have a pointer.
That's the button.
Concrete flume here that we discovered. I guess it's been covered for the last 10 years. If we had a visual of what the road looks like right there, it would really tell that it's taken some water damage in that intersection. So this is going to help get that water off that road there in that location. Jefferson and Yale. We got this drainage here. It's just a problem eyesore, so went in, cleaned it up, got the water flowing in there. West Cherokee is kind of like a dead end, but at that dead end, the water kind of backflowing, filling up people's yards there, so we scraped it off. That's what we call the Honda drainage back here. It goes into a big reservoir lift station there. Upcoming projects, Surrey Lane, which I believe we just finished this week. Yeah, yesterday, which is that top one up here. It kind of had the same thing. It's a dead-end road that goes into a ditch. It sooted in, flooding houses in there. We got that taken care of this week. Lisa Lane. Which one is that one?
Lisa Lane's the left one.
Lisa Lane's this one.
Correct.
So we're going to go clean out all those ditches. The Meadowbrook Ditch is a multi-phase project for this winter. We got phase one here, starting from Willow, going to Palm, and then from Palm to Mulberry, and then we'll branch off in here and do these other projects in here, if time allows. Those are very big ditches with a lot of work that needs to be done in there. Some asphalt updates here. Recently completed. We've been working over in, I don't know what that area over there is called.
The Ivy League section of town.
Ivy League, okay, thank you. Yale from Washington to Midway. We did Harvard from Washington to Jefferson, Princeton from Jefferson to Midway, Wellesley from Washington to Jefferson, and also the Route Oakwood to Cleveland project at the beginning of the season.
Very good.
This is some before pictures on Wellesley and Washington there. A lot of potholes in there, a lot of missing asphalt in there. We went in there and cleaned it up real good and did an overlay. Harvard, in West Harvard and Washington. going to? All the way to Jefferson, okay. That was about 3 blocks on Harvard there that we did with a quick overlay there. West Rube, it was a multi-function project, but we did the overlay on it.
Well done.
Took us a couple weeks to get that done, but we got her done. Some upcoming projects. We're going to go back in that same area. We're going to do North Adams from Willow to Oxford, Monroe from Willow to the dead end, and then we're going to hop over there to the east side, and we're going to do 13th and Randolph to Pine, which is a very beat up road, and hopefully get that taken care of. That's it.
I just want to jump out there and say thank you, Pedro, and your team. Pedro is the new foreman in the department. You've been a heavy equipment operator. You run the asphalt crew.
Official Monday.
Oh, okay. Well, congratulations. He's done a fantastic job with Ashley as the supervisor.
Yes.
This program probably gets more done cost effectively than the other programs, simply because we're doing this program ourselves. So we buy the materials.
Really?
We budget about $900,000 a year for asphalt materials, and then the labor is accounted for in different budgets. But you guys lay this asphalt, and we've been doing it for 5 or 6 years. So the pictures don't do justice. Everywhere you drive in this town, there's a lot of people in the audience. You've driven all over this town. You're going to see asphalt streets when you see them. It's likely these guys right here and a lot more that you don't see did those. You're going to see those concrete repairs. Those don't just happen magically. That happens with the team that we have here, the monies that you provide, and that the council appropriates and provides here. So 3 programs to get streets done. Outstanding. Keep on paving roads. We do 3 things in the street department. We pave asphalt, we clean ditches, and we, what's my note? What's the third thing, Pedro?
We mow. We mow and grade roads.
Yes, we mow, but we put the street back in the street department, so thank you very much.
Trees. Cool. Yeah, that all looks real good. I've been down, was it Roop?
Roop,
Yeah,
absolutely.
man, that really straightened that street up. Looks good. So, great job. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
And one comment, and we were having a conversation last week, just back when Commissioner Stallings and I were on back in the day. Instead of doing asphalt, we were doing slurry seal on a lot of the roads we saw tonight. So let's talk about how much better this is. I mean, this is a huge step up. I don't think people realize how much we've improved.
Yeah, slurry seal, I can't really speak to that, but this is real asphalt. It's, how many inches do you put down? 3 inches, 2-inch layers?
It's a 3-inch overlay.
3-inch
After
overlay.
compaction, it's a little less, 275 after compaction.
Okay.
Oh, on Willow. Roop, we did a 2-inch overlay, and then we went back and did another 2-inch overlay on it.
Probably everybody's driven on Roop, going out to Walmart, going out west, going to the Advanced Soccer Park. You guys did that. That was a mile plus or a mile?
It
or-
is just short of a mile, like
Okay.
30 feet short of a mile.
Excellent work. If we paid contractors, that would have been $1 million plus job.
So,
Well, thanks, guys. We appreciate it. Thanks for what you're doing. Okay, item 3.5, update on newly passed legislation effective November 1, 2025, with potential impact on the city of Enid, including food trucks, municipal code, lien enforcement, through foreclosure action, executive sessions, campaign finance reporting, annexation, construction, contract awards, and tort claim liability limits increases. Liability limit increases. And our new city attorney, Miss Melissa Blanton.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Board of Commissioners. Thanks for letting me talk a little bit about some topics maybe not as exciting as trucks and roads and all those things, but we get to talk about food trucks a little bit. I did not present a PowerPoint or prepare that for you, but you should have a handout in your materials. There are links for each of the bills that were passed, so if you want to click on those and look any deeper, you can. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each of these, but this will be an update for you. Some of these will require some changes to our ordinances. Those will be evaluated further. I'll work with other departments, city clerk, clerk on some of them, and we will present some supposed or proposed changes for you at a future meeting. But I wanted to give you an update on these and let you know so that if you have input, if your constituents have input, questions, you can get those to us so we can evaluate further for future meetings. So the first one, House Bill 1076 created the Food Truck Freedom Act. So the idea behind this is that the regulation for food trucks in Oklahoma is now primarily with the state. So the state will issue food establishment licenses. It will be from the State Commissioner of Health. Local authorities are required to authorized and required to recognize those state licenses. And so we're looking at freedom in the sense that now food trucks can get a license at the state level and then travel all over the state and not have to adhere to all the differences within the communities with all those permits. So we do have some authority to regulate certain things, but that's very limited. You'll see that we can issue a permit to recognize the state-issued license, a specific event that's been permitted by the municipality, or if the vendor is seeking a food establishment license from the municipality, we may issue permits for those. We can no longer charge fees on top of any administrative fees. That would be our cost for issuing that and keeping track of those things. So I'm going to be working with the code department along with our legal department and city clerk to look and see what we need to do. There are a lot of things I can tell you right now that will need to be changed within our code. We can't be more restrictive than the state. The state will still have those restrictions. There's another accompanying bill that went with that this year, House Bill 2459. That will also affect the state fire marshal's office or the local fire marshal. So now the state is looking at those safety issues with the food trucks, and they will issue an annual operational decal that the food trucks will be required to have visible on their trucks. So we still have the ability to investigate. If someone reports to us that they think there are violations, we can look into those, report it to the state, but a lot of that's now shifted to the state level. I don't know if as I go through these, if you have questions or comments, feel free to stop me. I know we're short on time tonight, so I don't want to take too long, but any questions specifically come to mind on the food trucks? Everyone loves a good food truck, so we'll make sure we're adhering to the rules, but allowing the food truck operators to be in our city legally. The next thing that we can consider is there is a Municipal Code Lien Enforcement Act in House Bill 2147. This allows the city to adopt the code in our code from the state legislature. We are not required to do this, but it allows us to do this. So if we do adopt this act into our code, the city may now initiate foreclosure actions to enforce liens on property that the municipality has placed upon that property. It excludes owner-occupied residences, so we're not going to be looking at people living in their homes and placing foreclosure actions on that, but it targets the property, does not impose personal liability on the property owner, and the threshold is that the liens, unpaid liens, must reach at least $1,500 for us to start an action under this category. So we would consider whether or not we want to do this in the municipality. It's a may, so if we adopted something like this, then it would give us the authority to do so. We could choose if we want to be more restrictive. One of the things we could look at is if we like the $1,500 threshold for liens, or if we want to raise that to a higher threshold across the different types of properties. I'll be working with code also, community development, looking at what kinds of liens we have outstanding in the community. Maybe we want to consider this. November 1st is the date that it becomes effective, but we are not required to pass anything, and once we do pass it or adopt it, then that will be the effective date for us. Any questions in that area? No? All right. Executive sessions, this is just something for your information. Senate Bill 491 amended the Open Meeting Act. It authorizes a public body to enter into executive session to discuss sale, lease, or acquisition of real property. Prior to this, the discussion was authorized only for purchase or appraisal of real property. So it expands that category when we're talking about property. So additional items that will allow you to go into executive session to discuss. Also, campaign finance reporting. I know that you all passed some ordinances just recently in this area, which means that they probably will come back, and we may decide to repeal those because it shifts some reporting requirements from the municipality to the state. So now the duties of the municipal clerk are now going to be with the Ethics Commission. And so you all, if you have any kind of reporting requirements, future candidates, that will shift from city to state. The next one, annexation. I won't spend a lot of time on this, just to tell you there's an update here. There are two bills, a House bill and a Senate bill. There are some new requirements for annexation of property, changes the requirement for consent of the property owners, changes some of the definitions of what land area is able to be annexed. There's a restriction on no more than 10% of a current land area or 8 square miles in one area at any one time. So when we're looking at the size of the municipality as well as the land that we would look at annexing, we need to be careful with how much we're looking at doing that for that. There's a service extension plan that's included. That's already a requirement. There's not a change that added that plan. The change that I've noticed is that plan has to now be presented in a public notice to the community for annexation. So it's not a new requirement to have that plan. That plan was already in place. The service plan has to be completed after 120 months. If not, it's kind of interesting, then the municipality, if it fails to complete that, then the prior or the current statute allows that property to detach pretty much automatically, and the new process would require the community landowners to petition the court for a detachment. So it puts more of an onus on the community members in that property to file with the court to detach if the municipality does not meet the requirements of their plan. There is a forced annexation that's included in there, so there's some requirements that need to be met. The city would have to prove certain things as far as benefit to the occupants of that land before they can force the annexation. And then Senate Bill 694 talks about detachment. So the territory detached under certain circumstances cannot be detached if it has a small strip of land. So there are some real specific things there if there's a highway or right-of-way. So it kind of cleans up some things, adds some abilities of the municipality, but also adds some restrictions as well. So we can look into that a little bit more if anyone has questions. A lot of details with annexation. So, okay. Construction contract awards. This may come up if you are looking at bids. So Senate Bill 1014 requires the political subdivisions awarding construction contracts exceeding $100,000 to give preference to local bids of not more than 5% instead of authorizing such preferences. So it changes that to an authorization to a requirement now for those bids. Tort claim liability limit increases. This is pretty significant. Senate Bill 1168 increases liability limitation as it relates to Government Tort Claims Act. So property damage claims limits are now, I think there's a typo there, it says not, but now up to $75,000. That was $25,000 previously. Other loss limits are $250,000 from $125,000 previously, and then the aggregate limit went up to $2 million from $1 million. So a pretty significant increase in liability for any of those Government Tort Claims Acts claims that come in to us. That's just a short list. There's actually a full list, and it's linked in your document. The Municipal League of Oklahoma has provided a list of all the bills that they think might affect municipalities. Some of those affect law enforcement, fire department, some other things that I've mentioned, but there is a link to that. If you have questions or want me to bring up any other topics at future meetings, I am happy to do so. The legislature passes hundreds of bills every session, and so it's good to have that organization to sift through those and let us know what may affect us, and then we can bring that to you if we think changes need to be made.
And then, Melissa, will you, from time to time, bring these to us in a study session so we can decide if any of those that need, you said an ordinance change?
Yes.
That we need to do that. So
Yes.
we'll get to hear more in detail on each one of these and what, if any, changes we want to make, or if we want to adopt those, or...
Definitely, yes. There are a couple of these that will require some ordinance changes. So my plan would be for the next October 21st meeting during
Okay.
a study session, we'll have some draft ordinances to present to you all to review. And then potentially at a next meeting, early in November, we could present those during a regular meeting. Yes.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, comments on any of those? A lot of changes going on. Okay. All right. Very
right.
good. Thank you.
Thank you.
3.6, discuss amending Title VI, Chapter 7, Section 13 of the Enid Municipal Code 2024 related to transporting an open container of alcohol beverage to add a prohibition against operating a motor vehicle while consuming marijuana, inhaling secondhand marijuana smoke due to another person's consumption, and possession of an open container of marijuana in the passenger area of a motor vehicle. Mandy?
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Commissioners. Tonight, continuing on with the theme of new laws and regulations that are going to affect our community, the legal department, in conjunction with the PD, have taken a proactive step in preparing a draft ordinance for your review tonight on the study session that would add a new section to our open container law, adopting the new state requirements where marijuana is included in the Open Container Act. It's become an issue because medical marijuana has passed, and it's an issue that faces our community, and the PD often comes upon, when they make a traffic stop, there's open containers of marijuana, and this is intended to limit and improve the safety and prevent people from transporting open containers of marijuana or passenger smoking while their drivers are driving. It's a pretty simple change to our ordinance. It just amends. We're adding a new section to the ordinance, or amending the section to add a definition of marijuana, as well as the language that was pulled directly from the state, placing those prohibitions on transporting the container or smoking in the passenger compartment of a car. The exception that applies to buses and limousines, the back passenger, that exception applies for alcohol. It continues to apply for marijuana, but this is intended to target simple passenger cars and people who are transporting open containers. Do you have any questions on this one?
So you'll be bringing that to us?
Yes, so
I didn't see it anywhere on our packet tonight.
there should be a draft ordinance that was included in the packet.
Kent, you can click the link and that should pull it up.
It's there.
Yes, so that was.
But it's not on for action tonight.
It's not on for
Okay,
action
that's what I
tonight.
was trying
It was on
to-
our study session. We're going to bring it back at the next October 21st section
Okay.
to be passed, and then it would go into effect 30 days after passing in accordance with the state law, taking effect on November 1st.
Right, okay. Questions? Anybody? All right. 3.7, discuss amending Title VI, Chapter 2, Section 6-12-3 of the Enid Municipal Code 2024 to add circumstances under which members of the police department are authorized to tow a vehicle.
So this is just a cleanup ordinance. It's not adopting any new state law. These, the circumstances are already allowed under state law. We're simply striking the original language of the arrest and detention of a driver to include for additional circumstances where a car can be towed from the roadway, to include when there is no insurance on the vehicle, and to include when the driver does not have a license or is driving with a suspended or revoked privileges, as well as if they're taken into, we're retaining the language where if they're taken into custody and as a result their vehicle is going to be left on the roadway, they'll be allowed to tow that. The other one is if there's an accident where the driver or an additional passenger or someone can't remove the vehicle, they can also take the vehicle, impound the vehicle at that time and tow it from the roadway, so that there's not abandoned vehicles on the roadway leading to safety issues. So it's just a cleanup issue. There's no new law being adopted. It's just to add that circumstances that are already allowed under state law that have become an issue with an increase in not having insurance on the vehicle and an increase in suspended or revoked driving privileges.
Okay. Questions?
And we'll bring that one back as well to the next meeting, and we are going to ask you to pass that one with an emergency so it can go into effect immediately, since it's just a cleanup and not new law.
Okay. All right, good job. Thank you. Item 3.8, discuss the findings of the franchise fee and hotel tax audit. Aaron?
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Many of you may not remember this agreement, but we entered into this agreement back in June of 2021 and was a 36-month contract with the provider. What they were asked to do under direction of council was to go in and look at all of our franchise fee holders and see what they're remitting to us. They did an audit. They compared postal addresses to our database of utility customers and against each of the franchise holders, OG&E, ONG, and our cable franchise, to make sure that we're getting taxes remitted on all of the properties throughout town. They've wrapped all of that process up. During all of that, they found no discrepancies with the cable Suddenlink. With OG&E, they were able to identify 5 addresses that have been now corrected. Many of them had been previously inactive for a long time, 7, 8, 9 years, and now have been occupied again and services reinstated. And so those have been corrected, and we've been getting remits from those since they were reinstated in 2024. For OG&E, there were no discrepancies after they worked through a list of about 181 accounts with that provider in the end to get everything authenticated to make sure. And some of it was just the naming convention of maybe how they had in our system versus matching it up. And so trying to get all of that mapping right between those databases to make sure we're getting everything collected. So we did not recover any funds on that part of the audit that they completed. The other part of the audit that they did complete for us was hotel tax. They went in and audited all 19 of the hotels that we have here in town. Of those, 12 were in full compliance, had remitted and paid everything. There were 7 that they found deficiencies with. 5 of them had to do with, they were collecting fees that were kind of ancillary type fees, pet fees, cleaning fees, smoking fees, and they weren't remitting that as part of their gross income, and they should have been. And all of those have been now turned in. There was one hotel that we had already previously been working with that they were able to help us get them back into compliance with the reports that they were behind and remitted those dollars over to us. And then we had one other hotel that did not keep proper documentation on tax exempt statuses that we've also brought in line now. Overall, from the efforts from this, we were able to collect $37,765 in tax back to the city that was due from these hotels. And the findings of the report is attached to the agenda. It's under consent tonight to accept their report. Are there any questions I can answer for you?
Very good. That's good news. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. That completes all the items that were left off on the study session. I will now go to item 5.1. Hear an appeal regarding the code official's determination that 228, I'll get right in a second, East Randolph Avenue is dilapidated and is subject to demolition pursuant to Enid Municipal Code 9-11-2 and make a determination. And Scott, to you.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I am here to present the timeline of what brought us to a dilapidation and how we got here. So what we're looking at here on the left are pictures taken in 2010 from a previous case of a sign, just minor minimum housing is what we'll call it. It's just minor repairs. Hey, you need to fix this. Focus was the sign and broken windows. The sign has since been removed, and the broken windows we're still working on. On the right are the pictures which were in our current case. It does say 2024, but that is 2025. Those were taken when we started this case in March of 2025, so I do apologize for that. What I do want to show here is not much change. I mean, you can see broken out windows in both. In August of 2024, a letter was sent regarding, this is all prior to any dilapidation hearing. This is just trying to reach out to the owner, trying to get progress. In August of 2024, a letter was sent out regarding the dilapidated state of the structure as a portion of the roof on the east side had fallen in. On September 17th, Scott Morris, our assistant city manager, had reached out to Rick Simpson in regards to the roof falling in and open and busted out windows and requested a written plan by November 1st of 2024.
Scott, I want to break in real quick.
Yes, sir.
And just say to everyone that how these code cases usually start, they're complaint driven. You know, we get complaints in from the community. We respond to those complaints and go investigate and try to work these things out. The goal of any type of complaint like this is always compliance. Mm-hmm. We want either, whether it's your next door neighbor that's got their grass 2 feet tall, you know, the goal is not to fine your neighbor. The goal is to get them to get their yard into compliance. On this case, before August and before September of 2024, I didn't write down the dates, but I met with Mr. Simpson. We'd gone out to lunch a few times. There was a time that you and I went to the museum and looked around and had a conversation with Rick. I didn't write those times down, but this is all prior to the timeline. These are as a result of getting complaints in the community and recognizing the contributions of Rick Simpson in the museum and what he's done for our community, trying to find a resolution to these complaints before code cases began. Mm-hmm. And so this whole slide is outlining some attempts to get the property into compliance before an actual code case began. And I don't know how many months before August, you know, that we talked about it and had some meetings, but just wanted to put that out there, that the goal of this is compliance with the building. And we did make some extra efforts on this one to not just start a code case. So I wanted to break in there since my name's on that slide. So.
Yes. So really, the other side is that this, what you're looking at here, is kind of where I became involved. So all the previous, you can tell there was previous talks. September 26th, Rick Simpson let Scott Morris know that he was working on getting the estimates for the repairs and reaching out to Preservation Oklahoma to set up a meeting October 8th. This point is not here, but it's still pertinent. On October 16th, Simpson's meeting with Preservation Oklahoma was postponed, and he was looking for other construction companies. On November 22nd, myself and Scott Morris had a meeting with Rick Simpson, and the topics were the structural integrity, the roof, and the windows. We did memorialize that in an email, and that was sent on that day. These items were to be addressed by January 1st of 2025. In that time, we had not heard anything. This is what had drawn our attention, and you can see this is an overhead view from 2024 showing the hole in the roof on the northeast side of the building. Just in case you can't see it, that is the hole in the side. Let's see. These are pictures from the March 2013, showing the exterior, what you can see from the outside. So this is our process once we started the dilapidation. On March 13th, we sent a notice of hearing for April 9th. On April 9th, we had the hearing. Unfortunately, there was some confusion. There was no representative, but due to the failing roof, lack of repairs, the structure had become detrimental to health and safety, and we did declare it dilapidated on that day. Under request, we did rehear it the next day, on April 10th, and we agreed upon the following timeline as noted in the signed minutes. We have minutes that we have during those minutes, and after we're done, everybody signs them to say we understand what's going on. The timeline was on April 18th, we were supposed to receive quotes for the removal debris. We still haven't received anything. On 5/19, we were supposed to have the debris removed. Nothing has been removed. On 7/20, the roof application with engineer submitted plans were supposed to be received. Those, once again, were not received, which in the meantime, we have declared it dilapidated. But if you'll notice, the October 20th still hasn't passed. It was decided that we have not met any of these action timelines, that it was time to proceed forward. And that is kind of where we're at here. So what we've got is, this is the actual inside of the building. What I do want to note here, which you can see, and this is why I would like to hear structural engineers tell me what's going on here, but these are I-beams. These should be able to support a lot of load. So I'm kind of wondering here, but what you're seeing over here is where it has began to fall in. It is in. There's not began. It is gone. This is on the top floor looking where you can see the roof has actually come in. This is looking towards the east, standing towards the north wall. The right slide is looking kind of towards the south, showing, and I just wanted to have a fair and give an image of the entire building here. What you'll see here is another one looking from the southeast against the north wall, kind of looking towards the southeast. This one is looking towards the north on the top floor. This is one of those load-bearing beams that has just completely collapsed. Here's one looking pretty much in a lower, it's a kind of a mezzanine level, looking to where the floor has fallen in along with the roof. The next picture is just kind of a zoomed in picture of it. This is the basement. One of the things I do want to point out here is that this was a rainy day. It was not flooded like I supposed it was. I have no idea where the water is going, but it does not seem to be pooling in there. The other one is what seems to be holding the main, it's hard to explain, but there's a portion of the building here, and then it kind of falls in here. And there seems to be a point that's holding that up. And I believe it's that concrete pillar right there. This is looking back towards the west. The only thing I want to note here is that there is, like I said, we went on a rainy day. There is water infiltrating here. These are buckets holding the water. They were overflowing, and even here you can notice the water is also getting in there, which causes me concern for the roof. This is just to the south from the north wall, looking back to the southeast again, just giving an overall view of what I was seeing. On August 26th of 2025, due to the lack of progress and the failure to meet any of these dates on the agreed timeline, the building was declared dilapidated. The following day, I was able to deliver that to Rick Simpson personally and talk to him. The next day he came in and appealed, and that is where we are at now. We are at the appeal portion. And that is the end of that presentation.
Where to start? So there's currently electrical power in there where all that water's running?
I am not sure what.
But there's electrical power
There's power to the building, yes.
And we still have the general public going into that building?
Yes, sir.
I'm also being told that we have school kids who are taking bus trips up there and taking school kids going through there. Do you know anything
I
about
know
that?
nothing about that.
Was there any sign of like black mold and stuff where that water was?
Black mold's hard to visualize
I know,
because
that's a
mold
very
can kind of be
broad
black.
We don't know where the water's going that's down in the basement.
Correct. So what I was showing is I was in the lowest part of the building and the water wasn't holding there. So it had to be going either out the building or into, there is a elevator shaft that it may be going into.
So there's a basement to the building?
It's 3 stories, 2.5. It's hard to explain. There's a mezzanine in there, but there's a basement, a first floor, kind of a mezzanine, and then 3rd floor, top floor. Kind of the way to look at it, so.
I would like to know, has the fire department also been involved in the inspections, and are there concerns that you have as far as this building goes?
We haven't directly been involved at this point. We've, of course, been discussing it on our side. Any large structure, we think about, talk about, and study and try to prepare for. The concerns we would have about a building like this is anytime you see heavy beam construction like that has started to degrade, any amount of fire at all could cause significant collapse in a very short amount of time. Buildings of that size, when they have construction with that heavy beam, the large beams, some of them were laminated beam, some of them were steel I-beam. That's because of the load of the building itself. And when those become improvised, start to degrade, deteriorate, that's obviously a collapse concern for sure. So I just tell you this, that if that building caught on fire, if we weren't there quick, if it was a very large fire at all, we wouldn't put anybody inside that building.
Thank you.
Time to hear from Rick.
Yeah, I think we should.
Scott, if you'll hang around, I know you're not leaving, but we might have some more questions. So I've got a list here of just a few people that have signed up to speak on this, but the first one, the main one I want to hear from is Mr. Simpson. So if you come to the mic, state your name and explain to us why you're wanting to appeal, on what grounds.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you guys. Great pictures. They don't tell the whole story of what's been going on. Now, after Larry passed away, I started calling companies, construction companies, roofing companies, to come and take a look and give me an estimate. It's hard to have a fundraiser of any type without an estimate. So some of them showed up, never got back to me with an estimate. Some didn't even show up. So I started on the windows.
So you started what?
On the windows.
Okay.
So we got the east side windows all done, started on the north, got 4 or 5 of those done, and a gentleman showed up at the museum. And he said, I want you to know why you haven't got anybody in here to give you an estimate. I said, why? We were told that we weren't allowed to work on this building. And so we shut off the window work. Why spend $5,000 more?
Did he say who didn't allow them to work on that building?
Right.
Who hadn't allowed them?
I cannot tell you, because I promised that I would keep their names confidential. So about a week went by, another worker came in from a company that I'd called with the same story. We can't work on this building. So, anyway, and like they told me, they would lose their jobs if their names came out. So then it started making perfect sense why you all want this building torn down. Now, maybe 2 or 3 of you all have been to the museum, but every year we receive visitors from all 50 states, plus visitors from all over Oklahoma. Since the China virus, our foreign visitors have been down, 25, 30 countries a year. We've always had free admission for people because it's one of the few things people can afford to go to in Enid, no matter what your income. We also regularly lend costumes and props for all kinds of events in Enid, plus our award-winning Western films, which showcase our museum, have gone all over America. The Stormy Lane Fan Club, which is in 48 states, bring people to all over Enid and the museum. Plus, we've had baby showers, birthdays, reunions, anniversaries, weddings. We've had 57 of those. Some of them are still married, I think. But I was visiting with some out-of-state guests when the woman from the code office came to take the notice on the door, and this is months and months and months ago. I went outside and asked if I could help her. I was told that if my name wasn't Larry Simpson, it was none of my concern. I said, Larry's been gone about 3 years. Check your paper. So she checked it over, finally found my name. But instead of apologizing for her attitude, told me to go back inside and quit interfering. So I did, because I know not to argue with a mad woman. So anyway, also in August of this year, I had 3 guys come by the museum and said they wouldn't take a look at the roof. So I thought it was finally somebody showing up to take a look, maybe give me an estimate. Because I have not had one estimate from any company that I called. But on the way back there, and this is what really astounded me, one of them said they were here to start getting some ideas on the demolition. And I said, what? They said, yeah, right after the October 7th council meeting, this thing will be condemned and we need to start making some plans. So I showed them where the exit was. But it's amazing to me that if you could hear the responses from our visitors, especially from out of town and out of state, there wouldn't be even discussion. You'd be fighting tooth and nail to try to figure out some way to save this building instead of lining up to tear it down. So it's not from lack of trying that we haven't had estimates. We haven't been able to get any. period. And like I said, we were told by 2 different people that they weren't allowed to work on this building. So, it saddens me that you all want this building gone. And I know it's out of code, but I also know that we've been trying to get it fixed, but we haven't been able to. So I don't know what's going on, but we tried. And I don't know what else to tell you, but.
Mr. Simpson, are you suggesting that this is a conspiracy that we're trying to take this building?
I'm not saying any conspiracy.
You said that some of us up here want to take it down.
Well,
I assure you, none of us want to take down any building in Enid.
Mr. Mayor, what would you think if you were in my position that you couldn't get any company in Enid?
I don't know. Anytime I've ever called people, if I couldn't get a local contractor, I called someone else, and they always showed up. I think Dr. Mack actually contacted a construction company for you.
In Wichita.
In Wichita.
Yeah.
And they were here within the week.
Yeah.
To look at that. I think you got a report yesterday on that.
That far away?
I don't know. I don't know who would have told you they couldn't work on that building.
2 different people. Plus
but you
4.
didn't take their name or who they represented?
I couldn't because I gave them my word.
Okay. Well.
And I'm not going to break my word for something like this.
Do you currently have liability on that building? Is there any liability coverage on that? There is currently liability coverage on that building? And you can produce that certificate?
Not right now.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But tomorrow you could?
Probably.
Okay.
But anyway, I was just trying to explain why we haven't made any progress. Because we couldn't. Now, I know why the building wants to be gone. Whoops, excuse me. And this has nothing to do with the people behind us. I want to make that perfectly clear. Because the people at Leonardo's are fantastic people. Good neighbors, good people. Charlotte that runs it is just fabulous. But if that building wasn't there, you would have a perfect view from the south of Leonardo's. And I think that's the reason why it wants to be gone. So anyway, that's all I've got.
Okay.
Mayor, may I say something?
Sure.
I've lived in Enid for 40 years. and
Yes, ma'am.
My joke for years has always been, I can tell you're from Enid if you can finish this statement. Rick and Will get paid?
Ain't likely.
Ain't likely. I can tell you that every person up here loves what the Simpson family means to this community. I bought my first pair of boots at Simpson's. I rented my first ski equipment from Simpson's. It means a lot to this community. None of us wants to tear your building down, but we have a responsibility for the safety and the well-being of this community. And if we have children or adults, anybody going into that building, and there is an I-beam that gives way because there's been a rainstorm the night before, and people are in that building, guess who they're going to come back on? Not just you, but us, because we know that building is in an unsafe condition. So I feel like tonight you have rallied the troops against us. It's not our responsibility
to repair your building.
No, ma'am, I'm not saying it is.
But it feels like that because you said in the Facebook
I was just trying to explain.
fight City Hall. Well, we're not here to fight you. We're here to make sure the citizens are operating in a safe manner.
Right.
So.
I was just trying to explain why it hasn't been done.
Why did you say fight City Hall then?
Well, that's an old saying, Mr. Mayor.
But we're not wanting to take your building down.
Well, it sure looks like it, and it sure sounds like it.
We want you to fix your property. Put it in a safe condition for the general public.
If we can't do that.
Why can you not do that? Aside from, is it funds, not have enough funds? Because I went back and looked. When we purchased your land out on 66, I signed a check for $1,200,000.
Mr. Mayor, that is so uncalled for.
That is absolutely true.
That has nothing to do with this building.
Sir, you're sitting here saying
that is so.
You had funds to repair your building.
Have you ever tried to buy land in Enid, Oklahoma?
Sir, I'm talking about your building right now at 228 East Randolph.
No, you're not. You're talking about the farm that
I'm talking about, I signed a check.
Right.
You had funds. Why didn't you fix the building then?
We're trying to buy a new house so we can get it out of there.
Do you feel like it's your responsibility to bring this up to code?
Yes, and I've been trying. But that was so uncalled for you to bring up a separate issue.
Someone has started a GoFundMe for you.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
But you had funds. You had funds.
That is such a low blow. I cannot believe that you would come up with that.
Okay.
That is so.
So I'd like to hear from Cole. Would you be willing to speak and tell us where you're at on this thing? And are you okay if Cole speaks?
Well, sure.
The GoFundMe was not his decision, or I had no idea. I started it.
Ma'am, please, until you're called to the mic, please.
It's not his decision to start.
Cole, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor, Board of Commissioners. Let me try to give you a timeline after my involvement as we try to rectify the delinquencies. We understand there's delinquencies, and it's Mr. Simpson's desire to correct those. With the help of Marcy Mack, Dr. Mack, she was able to get us in contact with Hutton Construction of Wichita. I have previously tried to get some gentlemen from Oklahoma City and from Tulsa to come over and take a look at this project. Either there were delays or there were scheduling conflicts. We've never been able to do that. So Marcy, on our behalf, got us in contact with Hutton Construction. Previous to that, I'd contacted Raphael Jackson with Jackson Civil. The first place to start, of course, is trying to remove the debris and the damage. We have to get that out of there before we can do any repairs. And so I spoke with him. He went and looked at it. He does not have an estimate yet because we're still waiting on scope of work from Hutton. We were able to obtain a engineering report from another company in Wichita who has worked with Hutton. We got that yesterday. I got it to Mr. Simpson early today and sent it to Raphael as well, because it's hard for Raphael to make an estimate and a plan without that scope of work. Hutton told us it would be probably 2 weeks until they could get us a full scope of work, an estimate on what we needed to do, and all of the steps that were taken. The engineer's report was dated October 2nd. We got them there as fast as we possibly could based on their schedule. Hutton said it would take about 2 weeks to get that. I don't know if that's 2 weeks from the 2nd or 2 weeks from Monday when we received it or 2 weeks from today. So as soon as we have that, we will be able to better formulate a plan. I can give that scope of work to Jackson Civil. In the meantime, Mr. Simpson has spoken to a contractor about drawing in the windows. Mr. Gilbert and Mr. Garnand and I had a brief meeting here the other day. Of course, code would like to not just make it safe, but dry it in. That's fixing the roof, that's fixing the windows, that's fixing the garage. There's a garage door on the east side that is currently, it's secured with old, probably war surplus PSP, so nobody's getting in there. We did get a estimate to put a garage door on that. Obviously, we've got to get the debris out of there before we can perform that. We got an estimate from a company in Stillwater regarding the roof, so we do have an estimate for that. That is after we put in the joists. We have to get the debris out before that, before we can put it in the joist, put on the roof. As the kind gentleman spoke earlier, sometimes things get delayed, just like the 19th and Cherry. We wanted it done in 2 weeks. Unfortunately, it took 4. I know this is an ongoing problem. I'm involved. We're trying to rectify the situation. I can assure you that the areas that are open as the museum are quite a ways away from the areas that are in degradation. Those areas are cordoned off and closed off and secure so that the public can't get to them.
Show it overhead, that might help.
Sure. Thank you, Scott.
That might help wherever we are.
Is there a laser pointer?
At the top there, it's got a circle pointer.
Okay, awesome. So the museum occupies essentially about 60 feet or so into here. You can kind of follow that line over and across. All of this area here is not accessible to the public. The other, and it is not just a simple 3-story building, it does have some odd levels to it. Those are completely cordoned off and secure from the general public. I've been back there with contractors. We're the only people going back there. As far as there being electricity back there, this portion back there that's caved in, there's not any active electricity back there. We have to take flashlights through that entire back area. So at one point in time there probably was, just as there is sprinkler system on all three floors of that building.
There's an active sprinkler system right now that works?
It does not work, but there was a sprinkler. Obviously, with the roof coming down, it took out part of that. So we're not denying that. The basement is not necessarily a basement as you would envision it, as far as it being like a hole in the ground. It's almost level, almost ground level. It's not very deep. Maybe as deep as this desk. He would just have to be in there and see the different layers, the different mezzanines for it to understand what it actually looks like. So what I'm here to say is we are actively, we know it's deficient, we know it hasn't been taken care of. I'm not denying that. We're trying to get this taken care of. Do I have a written estimate and scope of work for you tonight? I do not. I wish I did. I can't give you dates on when this project will start, when this project will be completed, who's going to do it, because we still have at least 2 weeks before we will see a scope of work that will allow us to formulate a plan.
Mr. Mayor, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, you know, having shot at least 4 movies with this gentleman, I'd love to see some of that space survive. It sounds to me that just for conversation's sake, to see if there's, it seems like more time is needed. And I commend our people for going through the timeline, but it sounds like until we have numbers and a solid estimate, I don't see how we can move forward until we have a plan in place.
So let me ask you this, if, and that's a good point, and I'm willing to do that,
Okay.
But, so let's say, how long, Cole, to get a package put together and what's going to cost to dry this in?
I won't know that until a couple of weeks from now when Hutton gets back to us.
Okay, if you had 30 more days, though, that would be sufficient?
30 more, I don't know if it's 100% efficient, but it would definitely help.
My question then is, if we come back and we have estimates and we have people lined up and everything ready to go, will you pull the trigger and sign the contracts and pay for that to be done?
I've been trying to pull the trigger for months.
That's a yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, you will sign the contracts and have that work done to have all this repaired and back in the dry. I don't care what the inside looks like as long as it meets code and it's dried in.
Yes.
So
I've been wanting to for a year or so.
Okay. So he thinks 30 days is a little loosey. is 45 days appropriate, or is that?
Well, we need it to line up on a commission meeting most
Okay,
likely.
okay.
First or second meeting in November, whatever, or whatever meeting.
Do that.
If I may interject, I'd
Sure.
also say, just as we hope to have a scope of work presentation for you tonight, we got told it's going to be another 2 weeks. And so what I don't want to do is come back at the next meeting and go, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, they're not quite done. We've just got it. We've disseminated it to the different subcontractors, which Hutton says they are more than happy to work with local subcontractors or use some of the subcontractors that they have used. And so we definitely just need a little more time. I know we've taken a lot of time, but we're definitely...
You can see our hesitancy, though, right? I mean, we've met, and we've met, and we've met. Sure, Scott, go ahead.
You said you got the, try to
Sure.
speak in the mic, because I know, you said you gotten the letter back from Hutton, the engineers, right?
Correct.
Does it say anything about it being structurally sound or unsound or anything like that?
Oh, it has deficiencies.
But they
And
can be
it's-
corrected?
They can be corrected.
Okay.
And it's not going to fall
I'm going to interject here. I think this will be something that needs to be discussed with staff. I think at this point, we need to figure out an outline in which we bring this back to the council.
I think it would be a very appropriate to have another meeting with staff. Again, we just received it kind of late yesterday. And so we weren't even able to disseminate it to the building owner until today. And so, again, we're not trying to say that it hasn't taken too long. What we're trying to say is we need just a little bit more time to get it done correctly and try to save the building. And there are other alternatives. We have had other people express interest in the building. Of course, with my fiduciary responsibilities, I can't discuss parties. We have had one offer entertained, and by having these numbers, there may be a way to completely reinvent the building and keep the Simpson Museum there. So there are ongoing discussions, but again, without full scope of work, I can't present those to parties because I don't have the answers to the questions that even you seek tonight.
Okay, before we make any kind of a motion, Dr. Mack, do you have anything you want to add on this? I know you've been working with Hutton. I just saw you sitting back there, and up to you. Come up to the mic just so we can hear you.
Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, as Cole indicated, we did take the opportunity to find a structural engineer that could come in and address those pieces. The timeline for that, they did that in about a 2-week period. So we, as Cole indicated, they are about 2 weeks out to be able to provide quotes and get those back from various subcontractors, because they did not want to come with a number and then we come back 2 weeks later and go, oh, just kidding. It was, our estimate was off. So all of those pieces, they're being very responsive. Hutton would love to work with local contractors as they put that together, but we are trying to move that forward as quickly as possible so that we can provide the answers and a solution to getting the building in the format that it needs to be. So happy to answer any questions on the work we did to bring Hutton. That's the role that we helped to serve.
Well, thank you for reaching out to Hutton. I do appreciate you helping move that along a little bit. All that being said, I am not opposed to giving a little more time on this. And I want the public to know it costs us money. We lose money every single time we tear down a property. Because when we file a lien on that, the property's never worth what the cost of the demolition is. So it is a negative result for us every time. So the whole someone being told not to work on it or someone coming out and measuring it for the new drapes, that's just not right. I don't know where that's coming from. Next time I'd ask if someone come into my building, you know, well, who are you here representing? But anyway, I would entertain a motion if unless somebody has more comments or something you want to say. I'm sitting here looking at November meetings on the 4th and the 18th. That pushes out more than a full month.
Well, a quick question, since you brought up the fact of the city staff needing to chat, I mean, does that add in another week to 10 days for you guys to have your due diligence with Rick and Cole?
I think it will. I think it will also depend on what y'all's motion is, what it's dependent on, if it's on receiving an estimate or him having a contract by a date, what you want to hear.
I think it would be helpful to set a date. I know internally, we certainly,
Yeah.
right now, we have nothing. So when you give us something, then staff can huddle. But I think it would help to set a date to keep things moving towards what everybody's goal is here, is getting the building fixed.
I'd like to err in the direction of having enough time for the process to properly be completed. Would a motion for, what did we say, November 18th was an option?
November the 18th, Cole?
I think November 18th would be fine, yeah, and that'll give us...
Now, what do we want at that time?
I would, and of course, philosophy and history major, so this is not a construction guy right here, but I would think the estimate, and it would be good to have the contract.
A signed contract.
The work to commence. Rick, are you comfortable with something like that? All right, Biggin.
And a timeline that the work will be completed.
Yes, and I think that will be very appropriate. We can disseminate all of the information to all the subcontractors for the scope of work. That gives Scott and Jacqueline and myself and Rick and everybody an opportunity to have that conversation that needs to happen, and then we can actually come before council with an actual game plan.
Okay.
How many days are we talking?
I'm sorry?
How many days are we talking?
We're talking about giving them until our November the 18th meeting. At that time, the benchmark will be to bring, that's just over a month. That's to bring a scope of work, a signed contract, and a timeline of when that work will be completed.
I would tell you that knowing the engineering world and construction world like I know it, it won't happen that quickly.
Okay, well, good to hear that.
All right.
Good to hear that. What do you,
What's your recommendation?
Rob, what would you
give them
suggest?
60 days.
I'm sorry, sir?
60 days?
Okay. I mean, you've been involved in this long enough. I would trust your thoughts.
If I may interject.
Yes, sir.
And I would certainly, I have actually spoken to Mr. Stallings and Mr. Norwood, having construction and engineering experience. I reached out to them for advice, and so perhaps maybe we move to November 4th to bring you an update. I'm hoping, Mr. Stallings, that we can exceed expectations, but I also can't guarantee
We
that.
just don't want to go through this again.
I would concur with you on that.
December the 16th?
December
It's
the
over
16th.
60 days.
That's 60 days. I think goodness we ought to be able to have,
Everything in place?
I would think so.
Along with the certificate of liability, in case someone's hurt.
I
That
think-
shouldn't be a problem,
I think
right?
that should happen in even this week, so.
Okay.
And if there, of course, is any type of snag or any type of expedience, then we'll talk to code and whoever else will listen to us, so.
Okay.
But you understand, we're not going to leave that building in that condition.
I think the
Okay.
entire world's goal is to not
Okay.
leave that
anybody
building
wants
in
that.
its
All right,
condition.
good. Because we don't want to do that.
No, and
But we don't want to take down the building.
It's went on too long,
Okay.
and we're trying
Perfect.
to kick it into high gear to get it rectified.
I think it's still important as well, though, to know, for Rick to know, there's no conspiracy going on. We love The Simpsons. We want that building to stay. And so I would appreciate you not saying that we're up here trying to take your building away from you. That is simply not true.
I never,
So just making sure that information doesn't get disseminated.
Let's just make the motion.
have a question.
Sure.
These people that have been sitting here, did they get a chance to speak tonight?
Everyone that's on this list, I'm going to give an opportunity to, yes. That's their right. Yep. So it's got to be held to the agenda item, though, right? So do you have anything else, Mr. Simpson, you want to say before I start?
Well, there's a lot of them.
I'm done.
Okay. Andrew, some of these are hard to read.
Kunkel.
Kunkel? Please come to the mic, state your name and your address, and you've got 1 minute. Scott, if you've got the timer.
Andrew Kunkel, I'm here for Mr. Simpson. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm here for Mr. Simpson. As we all can agree, we love the Simpsons. Cheryl knows me too. Mr. Mayor, thank you. Gerald. We can all say that Rick is right on foreign countries, 50 states, bringing people here, which I'm all about bringing revenue to great city of Enid, which is what he has been doing lately, is bringing revenue to the town, which if the museum vanishes, so does the revenue. So not stating that it brings in a lot of revenue, but it brings in a good enough revenue to where it counts for the city and not taking it somewhere else. So on that half of, me and Mr. Gerald here talked about revenue for fundraising for the soccer complex and other things. And I'm all for about revenue for this town to make it grow and to make it more successful for young entrepreneurs like me and future ones. But the Simpsons Museum needs to be the next generation of artifacts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Misty Meister? Did I say it right?
Yes.
Please state your name and your address, and you've got 1 minute.
Misty Meister. I put down Rick's, but I live at 16127 Highway 412, La Homa. I am related to Rick, worked for him many, many years ago, and we didn't know about this until very, very recently. I don't see, and I don't know where it came from, that he said to fight City Hall. What I was, and I, just give me a second, please. It said, come join me Tuesday 7th at 6:15 at City Hall for the City Council meeting as we try to stop the demolition of our building. So maybe it was said somewhere else. I think that fighting City Hall is an old, saying, whatever. That's not it. I think that with pride, with age, people are prideful and they keep their business to themselves. And so as a family member and as a community, we were not aware of the situation, but we are now. And like I said, I'm part of this man's family. I love him dearly, and we will figure out how to get it fixed. And I will help him. Okay. I will help him go to these meetings, do what we need to do to fix this problem, but just work with us and give us the time to get the estimates and get it. It's not about the funds.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Christina Robinson. You're good? Cole, do you want another opportunity? No?
Unless you have other questions for me.
No. Laura Dirksen?
I can bring you a mic if you would rather that.
That'd be great.
Need to turn it off. Oh, I think it's on.
If you'll state your name and address, and you've got 1 minute. Thank you.
Laura Derrickson, 6100 East Hayward Road, Waukomis, Oklahoma. And I have lived in this community my whole life. I worked at Simpsons when I was in my 20s for a very short time, but it had a lot of memories. And that museum is amazing, but the building on the inside is amazing. It's old. It's something that needs to be around this town. And I myself just found out about this issue today. I didn't know anything about it, but I'm definitely going to be spreading the word in support of Rick Simpson and Simpson's Mercantile and the museum to stay around in Enid, Oklahoma. Thank you.
Vera Dirksen?
Vera Derrickson, 6128 East Hayward Road, Wacomas, Oklahoma, 73773. I've known the Simpsons all my life. My grandpa Edwards and Rick's dad were buddies. So this is, and that museum is amazing. And I just am in support of them being able to find people to work for them. And I just am glad that we've had this opportunity. But it's sad that it's gone this far. And I'm learning more and more about the underskirts of this city. And it's not good, what I'm hearing. I just found out today the reason we don't have a movie at the mall is because the city won't give any incentives. So it's
Thank you.
It's not a
there's a
true
lot of
statement.
stuff going on.
Thank you. Lee Frasiendal?
Hello, my name is Lee Friesendahl. Due to my occupation, I'm not going to reveal my address. I'm here to say I'm part of a committee that has worked with Rick for several years on the building. I'm one of the ones that helped remove the sign from the building as required by you guys. We're still working over there. I do want to point out that years ago there was a building in the same condition as Rick's right now. The roof dilapidated, the floor is bad, unsafe to go in. Over a dump truck load of pigeon manure was removed from that building. But a man named Owen and his ex-wife Helen said, by God, I believe in Enid. And they built Leonardo's in that building and saved it from the same condition that Rick's building's in. I'm going to tell you the same story again, another building in the same condition, dilapidated, unsafe to go in. And Walter Sheffy says, I believe in Enid. And he made that the Boy Scout building that's now fixing to be another Youth and Family Services building here in Enid. Folks, I'm here to tell you, the building does need help. We know that. The part of the building that has fallen down is completely off limits to the public. There is no electric in that. I know that from carnal knowledge because I work on that building as often as I can for free for Rick. I just want to say, we need to save it. It's 3 buildings in one. You could shut that whole end off and still have 2 separate buildings by the way the building was built.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kelly Tompkins?
Hi there, Kelly Tompkins, 1110 Ramona Drive. First, I want to mention Natalie Rapp told me to let you know she wanted to be here tonight. She's the director of Main Street, which is a preservation-based organization. But I do want to say thank you for giving more time, keeping that building as part of our community instead of sending it to the landfill. I think if, exploring all the options, I'm glad Hutton is been contacted. I just want to say thank you for the extra time that you're giving. It shows that we care about, I am concerned about safety issues too, but it shows that we care about the character and the history and saving that in our community. And like some people have said, I know there's all the processes. You all work on so many things behind the scenes, and this isn't new to you all, but the urgency is new to the community. So I appreciate your giving them more time. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I have one other person signed up to speak, but it's on public comment, so I'm going to wait on that one. So I'm going to move on to the, no, I need a motion. Yeah. I need a motion.
Okay.
Make sure you put in what the timelines with the requirements.
Okay, we were going to move this down to December 16th to move the hearing to that date, and then Rick and Cole will come back with a plan of action and then also a signed contract. Is there anything else I need to add in?
Certificate of insurance.
And a certificate of insurance. Does that cover everything that we talked about?
I believe you need to table this item.
Table it?
Yes.
Until December 16th, put in the date, but I can also add those attributes we want coming back.
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
So it's now a table. I'll go table it.
Okay.
Until December 16th.
So I have a motion to table this until December the 16th with those stipulations. Sir. So I'll look for a second.
Second it.
Can I have a second? Cast your ballots. Motion passes 7-0.
Okay.
All right. Item 5.2. Hold a public hearing and consider an ordinance to rezone the property addresses as 1218 North 12th Street from R4 residential duplex or two-family dwelling district to R4 residential duplex or two-family dwelling district with a simplified planned unit development overlay. I'm guessing this is you, Jackie.
Yes, I'll be up in a second.
Okay, all right, good.
It's good to see people turn out. They care about something.
No kidding. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really know how to clear it out, don't I?
See how important you are.
All right. So this next item, I've already skipped on to other slides. Okay. All right. Good evening, Mayor and Board of Commissioners. Jacqueline Porter, Community Development Director. On this item tonight is presenting a SPUD, a simplified plan unit development at 1218 North 12th Avenue for a residential manufactured home. So just to recap on what a SPUD is, which is the simplified plan unit development. It's designed to assist in redevelopment in residential properties that already have existing utilities and streets. You're just mainly your infrastructure that's already existing, and encouraging for infill in those areas for residential manufactured homes specifically, and those are going to be located in R4 and R4A zone districts. So residential manufactured homes, I believe you've had one right before I started that was presented to you all. It's all very similar, but a refresher. A residential manufactured home is transportable in one or more sections. A permanent chassis built to HUD code or IRC code, built to the next slide, which is going to be the designated building designs. And there are 12 of them. The minimum 24 on the width feet and 960 square feet gross floor. The primary entrance facing the street, attached to a concrete or concrete block foundation, a porch or covered shelters are just a few of these that I highlighted. So there's your short refresher. So on to the main subject. The subject property and surrounding properties are part of the Highland 2nd Edition. It is near the intersection of Birch and 12th. If you couldn't tell, it's in the pink hash. So the current zoning of the property is R4 with similar zoning surrounding it. So the Envision Enid Comprehensive Plan was adopted in 2015. It projected the future land use of this area to be traditional neighborhood, which is predominantly residential in character and provide a diverse array of housing options that meet Enid's current and future residents. Oh, and if you didn't know, it was that little black dot. That's subject property. So on to the street views. The bottom picture is looking north on 12th. So this is just as if you're standing in the street in front of the subject property and looking north, and you can see the characteristics of the neighborhood looking north. And then the picture on the top right is looking south at those houses. So the SPUD written explanation that was provided by the applicant talked about concrete foundation, driveway steps, a brick skirting, front porch, and concrete steps, all done in these timelines. Here's a plot plan that came with it as well. Has the building lines set forth, the driveway, and all the required setbacks you can see from a bird's eye view there. Here's the elevations of the proposed manufactured home. Here are examples from the applicant that was provided. The house is this with the hardy board. I am steering this horribly. And then you have a asphalt shingles. And then here is just an example of just the gable for the cover of the porch. So the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission recommended approval of these items based on determining these 4 factors: whether the SPUD is consistent with the comprehensive plan, harmonizes with the existing and expected development of the surrounding area, whether the SPUD is unified treatment of the development possibilities of the project site, and then whether the SPUD is consistent with the stated purpose of the standards of this article. So, are there any questions for staff at this time?
Is there a notice that goes out to other people in the neighborhood?
Yes, a 300-foot notice, because the process is similar to that of a rezoning, so they do receive those within 300 feet.
They could come in and protest if they wanted to?
Correct, and staff did not receive any comments for or against.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
It's a public hearing. We need to.
Public. Oh, okay.
You can also, when the hearing's over, it's all one item.
Right.
Two
So,
issues.
but I do need to open it up and see if anybody, does anyone else want to speak on this? I didn't have anyone signed up.
We do have Cade who represents the applicant if you would like to speak with him.
Okay. I don't have any questions unless you want to make a statement. Anybody?
We're here to answer your questions.
Okay. So with that being said, I'll now look for the motion.
Motion to approve it.
Second.
Motion and second. Cast your ballots. All right. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Item number 6, 6.1, administration consider an emergency resolution of the mayor and the Board of Commissioners of the City of Enid authorizing the offering of 62.44 acres of real property held by the City of Enid to the Secretary of the Air Force, acting on behalf of the United States and directing the mayor to take such action as may be necessary for such offering. Melissa?
Thank you, Mayor, Board of Commissioners. So this is an exciting agenda item, much more exciting than my legislative update. But we are asking you to consider approving the donation of 62.44 acres of real property. It is located south of Vance Air Force Base. I believe there's a map that was provided in the agenda for you to look at. It's kind of a strange-shaped property, but this will allow the Air Force to take this property. Vance Air Force Base would be able to use that property for their purposes. It would kind of close out that kind of square area there
Down to the
south of the
section
base,
line, yeah.
that section line, yes. And so we have a great partnership, as you all well know, with Vance Air Force Base. This is one of the items that must be in place before we can provide a full packet of information, a full package of the proffer of the land to the Secretary of the Air Force. And so this would authorize you, Mayor, to sign any extra documents that would be necessary that we're going to be putting together within the next week or so to provide to them. We are asking for it to be passed with an emergency so that it can take effect immediately, so that the deed and all other documents that have been prepared for this gift can be presented all at once.
And we've already got all the environmentals and the surveys. We've got everything else we need in the packet, right?
Yes, yes.
Are there any questions before we go to a motion?
No.
On that? That's just those 60 acres that we bought at the end of the runway. Since this does have an emergency on it, it takes 2 votes. So I'm going to take a motion to approve the resolution. We'll vote on that, and then we'll come back for the emergency.
Move to approve the resolution.
Second.
All right, cast your ballots. Motion passes 7-0. Now I'll look for a motion for the emergency clause.
I move that we approve the emergency clause.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Cast your ballots. Motion passes 7-0. All right, very good. I know.
He looks happier.
Item 7.1, consent.
Move to approve consent items.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Cast your ballots. Motion passes 7-0. I'm going to move on. The end of it. Item number 8, recess to convene as the Enid Municipal Authority. Item number 9, all trustees of the Enid Municipal Authority regular meeting are present. Item 10.1, approval of claims in the amount of $499,540.54.
Move to approve.
Second it.
Motion and a second. Cast your ballots. Motion passes 7-0. Item number 11, adjourn to convene as the Enid Public Transportation Authority. All trustees are present of the Enid Public Transportation Authority. Item 13.1, approval of claims in the amount of $3,854.63.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Cast your ballots. Motion passes 7-0. Item number 14, adjourn to reconvene as the Enid City Commission. Item number 15, public comment. I have one person signed up, Mr. Justin Rhodes. You'll come to the mic, tell us your name, address, and sir, you have 1 minute.
Justin Rhodes, 210 West Main. 3 parables. Jesus told all 3 of them. 2 of them have to do with the older brother and younger brother, and 1 has to do with earning a penny. The older brother is the church. The younger brother is the nation of Israel. Israel will come into the fold of Christianity on the very last day of the tribulation period, as outlined in the book of Zechariah. It picks up where Jesus left the mountain in Acts chapter 1, and he appears in that book in the Old Testament coming back down in the clouds that he left in. Israel will be saved, and also in the process of Zechariah, they will take the land from the river Euphrates to the river of Egypt. And the people mentioned there in Genesis 12, they were the inhabitants of the Saudi Arabian Peninsula. So we're probably going to have 3 or 4 time zones in Israel here soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 16, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye, or push your button. 7-0, we are adjourned. All right.
All righty.
It was a good result on the Simpson. Keep the pressure.